just communicate with me via chat. Please feel free to send any comments via chat. So welcome to our Mindfulness in Business webinar. My name is Julie Magan, and you probably will get a chance to see my face via webcam. Depends on how it's going to work. But I hope you all will can see the slide share. And I'm going to remind you now about the purpose of today's webinar. And hopefully you all can see on the screen. So it's about sharing and explaining the benefits of introducing mindfulness practice to your workplace and the impact it can make on performance and culture. It is also about understanding how you can start your personal mindfulness practice and retain it on a daily basis, gain the benefits of it. And also, the main purpose of today's webinar, of course, is to hear a real experience of a personal journey with mindfulness from Kevin Rogers, CEO of Paycare. So we're going to do introduction now, guys, if you can see us. So first of all, I'm going to, of course, say hello to you, and please bear with us, as always, technical issues. But yeah, hopefully you can see me now. So yes, hi, my name is Julie Magan, and I'm a Human Programs Director at Unicorn & Co Academy. I have been working in human resources for the last decade within blue chip companies, and whilst I was part of HR teams, I've noticed that we really don't pay enough attention to the human factor, including human well-being, human development, human potential. So I was very passionate and keen to kind of bring this fact into the workplace. Hence, now I'm in this role, designing and delivering innovative human programs. So that's me. I'm your facilitator for today. And yeah, so you know how I look and where I am. And I'm gonna say hello, Kevin. Introduce you to Kevin Rogers, who's gonna be. Hello, Kevin.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi. Yeah, I'm just trying to make your web camera working. So are you? Yes, we can see you now, Kevin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Rogers. I'm the Chief Executive of an organisation called Paycare. We are a health cash plan provider. We're based in Wolverhampton. My background is that I'm actually a qualified accountant. Majority of my career, I've worked in construction, manufacturing businesses. Made redundant in the big crash in 2008. As most things in life happen, I just found myself working for Paycare in a temporary role. Became operations director shortly after, and 3 years ago, I was made chief executive of this amazing organisation. I am biased, by the way. We have been in Wolverhampton 140 years. We are a nationwide business. We've got an amazing culture. And one of my ambitions when I took over as chief executive, fully aware.
Sorry, Kevin. Apologies, Kevin. I was just told that it's very hard to hear you. Is there something you can do for us? Maybe you can just pick the phone up.
Okay, is that better?
That's much better, thank you. Kevin, we'll come back to you in a second, so I just wanted to make an introduction. So we'll do it again because it was difficult to hear you. And I just, we also have one more guest on this call, and it's Mick Timpson. And Mick is a mindfulness practitioner. He's also an award-winning architect, artist, mindfulness and yoga teacher. So Mick, you online, just say hello and the purpose of you being on this call today.
Hi there. Yes, thanks, Julie. Yes, morning, everyone. Yes, I'm here to finish off this little webinar with a little bit of guided practice as well, which should be fun over the internet. So hopefully those of us who have signed up today get a little bit of experience of what it's like to incorporate a little mindfulness meditation practice, basically sitting at your desk or at your computer. And it should link in very nicely with Kevin's experience and with what Julie's trying to do with Unicorn.
Yeah, and thanks, Mick, I wanted to add, as long as you're not driving, guys, because that's probably not a best way to practice mindfulness. Great, thanks, Mick. We'll come back to you. I will just put you on mute for now, so you can feel comfortable. Before we start sort of learning about Kevin's story, which is quite fascinating in terms of his personal journey and his journey within the business, I wanted to share with you a couple of slides around mindfulness, just sort of remind you, you know, what mindfulness practice is like in today's Western world. So, and then we'll move on to Kevin's story. We'll finish up with mindfulness practice with Mick, and then we'll have a question and answer session. But please feel free to send your questions during the session, and I will try and address them straight away if possible. So you see, I hope you all see my screen sharing, and this is quite a famous picture on the internet, you know, and I think it's very simple about, you know, kind of makes you think whether you're mindful or mindful. And yeah, if you have an opportunity to have a look and think about when you go for a walk, either with your dog or your child or your friend, you know, which category do you come into? You know, usually we humans, we think a lot about the future and the past and what's going on, what I'm going to have for dinner. And whilst our dogs, our pets, they're just enjoying the sunshine, the smells, the grass, the greenery. So very, very different experience whilst being in the same place. So the purpose of mindfulness is really, as I'm joking with my clients, is being more dog. You know, being more dog, as O2 advert tells us. So just to remind you what mindfulness practice is all about, is mindfulness is a practice. There are many definitions of mindfulness, but I picked this particular one. Mindfulness is a practice that rewires our brain to stay in the present moment. And the two key definitions for me, the first one is revise our brain, and the second one, stay in present moment. So that's the intention of practicing mindfulness. So if we think, why do we need mindfulness practice and why is it getting so widely spread in the West? It's because we are kind of in this crazy era of high-speed information. If you think about it, you probably look at the picture and this guy holding different devices. And if you look around you now, you probably see yourself being surrounded by all different kinds of devices where you're constantly getting information and sending information through. So we are information overload. As a result, we have very short attention span. We're constantly kind of interrupted, distracted, and doing other things. We also have difficulty to focus as a result. We are connected, but we globally, we can like I'm connecting to you now. At the same time, we may feel disconnected when we're alone and, you know, we can't share our feelings. We're missing that face-to-face human connection. The speed and pace of everything we do is quite high, you know. Everything is such a high pace. Everyone wants to deliver, to achieve, because again of all this information, we think things just happen straight away, and it's just that kind of impression we get, and that's why we push ourselves and others really hard, and this creates this huge pressure to deliver within the businesses, within organizations, and pressure to deliver for ourselves as well. And as a result as well, we have very little patience for ourselves and very little patience for others. Very often, it's like when we do research on Google, we want things straight away, delivered to our place. We just want things to happen straight away. But mindfulness practice helps our brain to cope with this amount of information, with this pressure. Because if you think about it, a century ago, our brain wouldn't have that kind of stimulation. We didn't have TVs, internet, radios, nothing. We would just maybe read a book or listen to music or sit around the campfire telling stories. So there was not much happening in terms around our brain stimulation. Therefore, you know, we need to kind of to adopt our brain to this new era, and mindfulness really helps. And, you know, there's a lot of conversation on mindfulness, but I think it's very important to highlight that Harvard neuroscientists has proved that mindfulness can reshape your brain in just 8 weeks. So what they did, they took a group of newbies who never practiced mindfulness before, a group of people, they scanned their brains, as you can see in a picture. They asked them to practice mindfulness meditation for 20-30 minutes a day for 8 weeks. and they asked them to do a diary. So in the end of 8 weeks, people reported a greater sense of happiness, well-being, better ability to make decisions, better memory, less stress, less anxiety, and better relationships. So, but neuroscientists wanted to check whether their observation matched their brain. So they scanned their brains again in the end of this experiment, and they found out that the brains visually have changed. So, for example, the area of the brain, amygdala, that is responsible for stress, and it's a very ancient area of our brain, it's actually got smaller. And that area of the brain that actually is very activated with in most of us because of the constant stress we experience. So with mindfulness, this area has gone smaller. And the other areas like prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, they actually got denser in the brain. And they are the areas of the brain that's responsible for problem solving, thinking, planning, self-awareness, perspective taking, and creativity. So neuroscientists confirmed that yes, mindfulness does change your brain for the better. You can reshape your brain with mindfulness. I would spend much time on this, guys, but unfortunately, we know we are limited. But yeah, I'll send you all the slides through afterwards, and you will get a recording of this webinar as well. So lots of organizations nowadays, they heard about the power of mindfulness, and they want to kind of use that to train people's brain and to really gain the benefits out of it. So the key of mindfulness is that you can sculpt your brain as you would sculpt your muscles at the gym. So you can really, the way you sculpt your muscles in the gym, you can change your brain the same way with mindfulness. So lots of companies tried it, and the most famous one is Google program, where they developed a mindfulness-based program for their engineers, and they combined it with emotional intelligence. And it has been a real success, and it has empowered lots of engineers for high performance, better engagement, and better personal lives. And now Google took this program worldwide. Other companies did similar things, but you know, I can give you more examples afterwards. So questions you can answer with mindfulness at your organization, and there are so many, especially with regards to leadership. How to manage ambiguity and complexity, how to work smarter, not just harder, how to manage information overload, how to reduce anxiety, how to increase mental capacity. So mindfulness has many, many benefits, and I share this slide with you so you can really see. Mindfulness is a great well-being tool, but it's also a brilliant tool for personal growth. So and I found through my personal mindfulness practice that well-being and development and potential are connected. If you're well, if your mental state is, you know, if you're not stressed, if you're not fearful, if your amygdala is not too active, you actually are more willing to learn. Your other parts of the brain are open up to learning, to changing, to getting information, to absorbing information. So, and I think lots of organizations missing this link between well-being and development. So, and I really want to highlight that this is quite an important factor. But you can see there are massive benefits that mindfulness brings to organizations, to its leadership team, to employees, from resilience and well-being to emotional intelligence, strategic decision-making, innovation, and creativity. So, as I said, I'll share the slides with you guys, but that's quite an important one. Well, enough of me talking, and I'm very happy to have Kevin back on, and I hope we will be able to hear you now well, Kevin. Kevin, hello?
Hello.
Yeah, so please have your phone on you, so...
I have it.
Yes, great. So, Kevin, you started telling us about your background and your main traits as a leader in your previous roles. So would you just repeat it so for the benefits of others because they couldn't hear you properly?
Sure, not a problem. My background before joining Paycare was principally in manufacturing and construction. My professional qualification is that I'm a qualified management accountant. I principally worked for large North American corporations, so very, very numbers driven, very focused, very aware that I was really wearing a mask, and that kind of dehumanized me as a leader. within the organisations. And when I took over the role of Chief Exec 3 years ago at Paycare, I knew that I had to change the way I was perceived as a leader. I had to really improve my emotional intelligence. So I really started on that exploration as to how can I change myself to become a better leader. I'd never heard of mindfulness before I started this journey. I described myself 12 months ago as a mindfulness virgin. And so I knew that I had to find something that would help me become the kind of leader that I personally wanted to become, but more importantly, what benefit the organisation.
Thanks, Kevin. And how did you get introduced into mindfulness practice? What made you try it?
Well, Paycare is a health cash plan provider. Traditionally, we have always focused on physical health and well-being. I was really aware that the stresses that were happening in our everyday life and in business, we really had to come up with some solution that would help the policyholders that we have and the businesses that we work with, some kind of solutions to mental health well-being. So I just did some searches on the internet. I came across Unicorn and Julie and Kate, and as a consequence, I came across mindfulness. I was looking to put together a group of partners that I could work with to introduce to the businesses that we had. I mean, we worked with over 800 businesses. So, as I said, I had no idea what mindfulness was. So I really need to understand better what it was. So we arranged a taster session with all our SMT. It was quite interesting that their view of this, again, none of them really had heard of mindfulness before. And I think it's quite honest to say that they were quite skeptical about it. So we had a taster session with Julie, and the reaction was absolutely amazing from all the team. They said, we have to do more of this. This is absolutely transformational. So from there, we had more sessions with the SMT. I then started having one-to-one sessions with Julie. And again, that was really, really transformational for me personally. I began to understand more about my traits as an individual and as a leader. And I could really, really see at that point the benefits to business. As I said before, my background is an accountant, so I'm always looking for bottom line impacts. But I could see that if we could really embed this into the culture of Paycare, but also embed it into the cultures of other businesses, just how beneficial this would be to bottom lines of businesses.
Can you kind of expand? First of all, how did your leadership style change, Kevin? What exactly, and what exactly changed? Can you give us?
I dropped my mask. I become more human, and my emotional intelligence completely changed. I started listening to people. I thought I listened before, but did I really listen to what they were saying to me? Did I really observe what was happening around me? I was so focus driven. All that mattered was the bottom line, without regard to the impact that was having on individuals. And although we were churning out really great results, how much more could we get? How much better could our environment be if I, as a leader, was able to lead really effectively, to really understand my people, to really understand what their concerns were, and to put together a strategy that would help them as individuals, but then help ultimately the business to improve its performance. So my leadership style completely changed. My role had changed. I'd never been in the CEO role before. It's a really lonely role, and you have to change. You can't keep wearing the same old mask that you've always worn. You have to change, and I think I've really changed as a leader.
Kevin, you told me about this experience you had when you had a coaching, one-to-one mindfulness coaching out in nature, and you were very skeptical about it. You were worried about getting cold, and you didn't like this idea. And how tell me about this experience. Tell us about sort of how it changed you.
I think it's safe to say, Julie, you've introduced me to a lot of concepts, and some of them are really, really challenging. And when you suggested our first one-to-one session was held in nature, and I'm thinking, what the heck is all this about? And I'm really, really skeptical. But I have to say, it was absolutely an amazing experience. My senses were just completely opened. I noticed that the littlest things, the simplest things within nature, how a tree felt, the smell of grass, what was going on around me, the 365-degree view that I had in nature, that it wasn't just completely focused on this, what was just in before me. And I would absolutely recommend to anybody, just be brave. Just be brave, and when you take on these new concepts and these new concepts are introduced to you, just be brave as leaders, as managers, embrace them, try them. You'll be absolutely amazed at the transformation that you will see individually.
So how did you translate this experience into your office life when you kind of opened your senses?
As I said before, you notice things around you. It's particularly with practicing mindfulness. You're surrounded by things going on all the time. You're surrounded by what's happened before. You're surrounded by what's going to happen in the future. You really need to stop and think and become in the moment and notice what's happening now. And when you really start to understand what is happening in the moment, then you become a better decision maker, because you're really seeing, you're really hearing what is really happening. Not what you think has happened, not what you think you're going to be doing, what is happening now. And you become, your decision making improves so much because you're giving yourself time. You're giving yourself time to think, to make better decisions, more informed decisions, because you really, really are noticing everything around you. And
so, Kevin,
picking it up into the, relating it to the nature experience, you hear everything because there's no noise around you, only what's there in the moment. So your mind is completely focused in the moment, not the background. You could be in a forest, in a park, and there's background noise going on of cars going past. That is completely blocked out because you're so focused on the bird song, on the wind in the trees. You become really, really focused. And it might sound strange to people. You have to experience it to really understand it.
Kevin, how did this affect your personal life? So in the past, you were very sort of high-paced, exact. How did it change for you? How did
Completely changed. I'm always been a very driven, very focused individual, and that carried on into my personal life. So I found that I didn't sleep particularly well, and that impacted on my mood, and certainly my mood personally at home. But also that was brought into, starting work in the morning. You hadn't had enough sleep. How good is your decision-making process at that point when you're tired? So it helped me relax personally. I'm a huge football fan, and very often I would take out my frustrations at a football game. There's a real funny story, probably late last year. Some of the guys that had sat behind me for many, many years just turned around to me and said, "Kevin, what medication are you on?" I said, "I'm not on any medication," because they saw that I'd become a more relaxed, more calm individual. And that is so effective. It really, really is effective.
Kevin, and one more story, if you'd like to share from your personal life before we go back to your organization. Is there about your garden? You know how you want to share this one? So that's quite, I find it quite showing.
Yeah, I love gardening, and the reason I always said that I love gardening was because it was really therapeutic, and you could go out and you just turn your brain off, mow the grass, cut the plants, plant things. But what I found after really thinking about it was that I was spending all this time preparing the garden and really proud of how it looked, but I wasn't actually spending any time in it. After really embracing mindfulness, I said, I'm not going to go home and sit directly in front of the TV and catch up on the news. I'm going to go and sit in the garden and just experience how wonderful it is. Just look at the colors, listen to the birds, really appreciate the work that I put in, and just spend time there in the quietness of it, reflecting, focusing on just the beauty of the garden. And that really, really helped me just totally unwind from a hard day at work, and gave you that kind of transition from work, from a busy work life, into a more peaceful and fulfilling personal life.
Okay, Ken, let's go back to introducing mindfulness to your staff. Or of course, you mentioned you introduced it first to your senior management team. And what was after the first session, did you see any particular reaction or benefits? Is there any examples you can share with us?
Straight after the first taster session, one of my managers had been putting off a really difficult telephone call that she got to make. Straight after the session, she went and made that call, and she said, it felt so rewarding that I felt I could handle that call, that I got the resilience to handle that really, really difficult conversation that I had to make. Following on from the taster sessions and the ongoing sessions, what all my managers have come back to me and said that they're making better decisions. They are taking a step back from the day-to-day, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this now, and really thinking about how they can trust their team to do these things that they've not had trust in before. So they're able to make better decisions, and as a result of that, they feel better leaders and better managers, and they are, as I've understood my leadership team and all my staff, they understand the people that work for them more as individuals, and they're listening to them, and as a result of that real listening, they're able to make better decisions.
Okay, Kevin, and it's worthwhile to mention that you've decided then to launch this program to all your employees. You offer it to all of them, and then on a voluntary basis. Is this right?
Yeah, we decided, because it was so effective with myself and with the senior management team, that we really should offer this to all our staff. One of the things that had always stuck in my mind, my background in manufacturing, was we regurgitated the mantra, people are our most valuable asset. Taking that back into the context of my manufacturing, we would purchase a very, very expensive 100-ton press. And we had a preventative maintenance program in place for that 100-ton press, because we said we couldn't afford to have that 100-ton press not producing. What preventative maintenance plan did we have in place for the operator of the press? None. So how could we say that people are our most valuable asset? So when I became chief exec, I really wanted to change this mentality and really show that the people that we had working for us here, that did a fantastic job, we really, really cared about them. And I thought introducing mindfulness to them would just demonstrate that we really, really do care about them. And I think it would be beneficial for them both personally, as it had been for me, but also from a business point of view as well. So we introduced an 8-week mindfulness course with the Unicorn. It was totally voluntary because I don't think you can really force this on individuals. It is quite challenging, and it really isn't for some people. But we had 90% of our team attend the first workshop. And again, it was really challenging for them. But the majority of the staff over the 8 weeks embraced it. We ended up with 55% of the staff still on the course at the end of it, which I think was a fantastic result. The benefits that we saw were that were fed back to me were really focused on their individual person. We got one fantastic member of staff that came back to me and said, every morning I spent the first hour and a half arguing with my 3 and 4-year-olds, and it took me an hour when I came back into work to just calm down and slow down. Since doing the mindfulness, she said, I don't have that argument now. My resilience has improved. I know how to react better to the conversations I'm having with my kids. So I can come into work and I can get straight into it. So that's a real tangible benefit to the business as well as to the individual. So you're helping them deal with their personal issues, which makes them happier and happier at work, happier in their personal life. It's a win-win all round.
Thanks, Kevin. But in terms of looking at your figures, and how did you measure the impact of mindfulness? So how did it correlate with any of your KPIs? Yeah,
we've always prided ourselves as a business on giving great customer service, which we did, but we've improved on that. We set ourselves many KPIs throughout the year. One of them was, as a financial services regulated business, we have to monitor complaints and compliments. We've exceeded our compliments figure by June of this year. And that just is a demonstrable fact of how happy our team are now, how more relaxed and they are with dealing with customers and the response that they're giving with customers. We've seen our attendance improve from 96.5% to 98%. To get some real hardcore data, though, relating to this, we did a survey before the 8-week course and after the course, and the measure on a scale of 1 to 10 improved both from well-being and happiness at work from 7 to 9. So we've still got a little bit way to go, but you can really see the benefits within the team. As an accountant, I've said I always look for bottom line effects. Our productivity has improved by 1.5% over just a 12-month period. Because my managers now are able to make more informed decisions, that profit improvement program that are always being put off because they always got the day-to-day to do, we've had time to implement that now. That has a bottom line effect on an annualized basis of £80,000. They are significant figures that cannot be ignored as a business. So we're just starting on the journey.
And
the potential is absolutely enormous. Pardon?
So have your bosses, Kevin, noticed any difference? Obviously, you probably have bosses as well.
Yeah, we've got a long-serving non-exec director who probably comes in once, twice a month into the business. He's a really good guy. He's been with us for 13 years, so he's seen the culture over a 13-year period. He has experienced, including myself, 3 chief execs. He made a comment to me just last week that he'd never known the culture and the happiness of the business to be higher. He really noticed the morale amongst the team, the happiness, just the buzz in the place, because that's what I really want. I want an organisation that is absolutely flying and buzzing, where people and staff are totally engaged in the business.
Sure.
And
Thank you, Kevin. I think I certainly lost Kevin, so he will be back. But at the same time, I would like us, Nick, I would like us to move on to you. Hello?
Hi, Julie, yes?
Hi. Sorry, Kevin, we lost you. I don't know why. So maybe you'll try and dial in again. I think it's just on time as we're ready to try and do some personal daily practice with Mick guidance. So Mick, over to you.
Good, good. Thank you. So what would you like me to do, Julie? Would you like me to start a practice now, or do you want me to go through these slides, or?
If you just kind of guide us through, so if we want to practice mindfulness for the next 3 to 5 minutes, if you guide us through, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, can I just say how fantastic Kevin's little talk was then? That was a great example of meditation and mindfulness in action, and it was great to see. Kevin talked about dropping a mask, and that is really interesting because that's exactly what meditation practice is that we start to drop an illusion about who we are, what we need to do, where we are, and we start to see things as they really are. And that's really important. So meditation is a way of beginning to remove obstacles from you being able to work better, feel better, be more creative, have more compassion, more connectivity. And it really works. And although, as Kevin says, it might be a cliche, but change yourself first, and then the world changes with you. And that's exactly what happens. We can make lots of alterations to our external environment, to our management structures, but until we actually deal with the insides and start to really think about how you see the world and how you operate in the world, those changes will only go so far. And quantum science, medical science are now catching up and saying that if we actually can change the way our perspective works, if we can change the way we engage with the world, then the world does actually change around you. And for a business leader, of course, that is vital. And you really, really want your staff, the people you work with, to really thrive, to really do the best they can, and to really actually engage with their creativity, their energy, their compassion, their problem solving, and certainly meditation is a way of doing that. So with that in mind, we're going to do just a few minutes of what we call checking in. Just stopping, if you like, and we can do this as many times as we like during the working day, particularly if you're sitting at a desk all day, or you're sitting at your computer, you're in a meeting, or you've got a moment to rest. This little moment of checking in is quite a nice thing to do. So what I'd like you to do is just sit up reasonably straight with the small of your back in the chair. If you can do that, that's good. And allow the spine to be straight without tension. A nice way of imagining your spine is that it's like water pouring from a jug. It's straight, it's fluid, it's flexible, but very relaxed and natural. And you place your hands in your lap, and you relax the shoulders, and keep the head upright. Again, no tension, just be comfortable and just be in your body. That's good. Now, often it's a good idea to close the eyes if you can, or some people just like to soften the eyes, so they just partially close the eyelids down. So there's a little bit of daylight coming in underneath, so that you're still there, you're still alert. That's good. That's good. So if you can do that, that's great. The other thing to do is make sure that your feet are flat on the floor. Okay, so you're sitting upright, you're relaxed, you're attentive, your feet are flat on the floor, the eyes are soft, the mouth is closed, and we breathe very gently through the nose. That's good. Now all we're going to do is reconnect. We're just going to reconnect back into the moment, into the present, as Kevin has talked about earlier. So if you can, bring your attention, your concentration to your toes. Just feel your toes for the moment. You don't need to look at them. You don't need to be moving them. Just bring your attention into your toes. That's good. And then, at the same time, keep your attention with your toes, but now let's expand our attention a little and bring it to the fingers. Now feel your fingers resting in the lap. That's good. Fingers and toes. Now, keep your attention. You'll find your mind will wander. That's what it does. But if you notice, gently bring your attention back into fingers and toes. That's good. Now, we're gradually reconnecting with the body as it is now. We don't need to worry about the future or the past. We don't need to think about things we have to do, because what we're doing right now is the thing we're supposed to be doing right now. So bring your attention to fingers and toes. And then, if you can, let's see if we can expand our attention a little bit more. Let's now bring our feeling of fingers and toes right through the body. Can we feel now the whole body sitting on your chair, being attentive, being alert, but feeling the whole body? Just feel now what it's like to be in the whole body. That's good. And again, your mind will pull you away from what you're doing. That's okay. Just gently bring your attention back. So now we hopefully feel a little bit more connected into the body. Because as Kevin says, being in the present is important. That's where real life happens. And the body we have is the only part of us that is always present, always in the now. So stay focused. Now we're going to bring our attention to the breath. Keep focused on the body, but now just watch the breath. Watch how the body is breathing for you. The body breathes for you. Just watch. Feel the body rise as you breathe in, and feel the body fall as you breathe out. Rising and falling. Rising and falling. Rising and falling. That's good. Keep your attention on the body, but also know the breath. Don't force the breath. Don't make it any different. Just allow it to come and go. Rise and fall. Rise and fall. Now you'll begin to notice very quickly a relaxed feeling. A feeling of just being well. Of just being there. That's good. That's what we want. We've brought ourselves into the present. We've heightened our awareness. We've opened up our senses. And we've become present. Now, as the breath and the body come together, we notice that the mind begins to settle. It really does. Sure, there are things happening, things you're worried about, things you're anxious about, things you need to do. But for now, we can just focus on being. Just being still in the moment. And the mind is beginning to just gently settle. Now, as we've watched our body and our breath, we now watch our thoughts. It's possible to simply just observe your thinking. Whatever's going on in your head at the moment, it's important, but we can change our relationship to it. We can change the way we respond. We can change our perspective. It's a little like changing channels. We can approach our thinking differently. So allow those thoughts to float through your attention, but just watch them. Just very gently detach and watch your thinking. It takes practice, but if you imagine that each one of your thoughts is happening on a screen and you are just in the audience watching, that's all you need to do, that change of perspective. Just watch your thoughts. Just watch your thoughts. Let them flow by. Don't get entangled. Don't get caught up. Just watch. And again, you may notice a softening, a deeper feeling of relaxation. But more importantly, something else is happening. The real you, that mask that Kevin is talking about, drops away. Your creativity starts to flow a little bit more. Your compassion. There's a calmness. There's a feeling of potential, a sort of can-do moment. It's already in there all the time, those experiences. But when we meditate and learn to let go, drop that mask, see things as they really are, anything is possible. And in business and in work, it is probably the most important skill anyone can develop, being themselves. So stay focused. That's good. Stay focused and try if you can to feel the body, the breath, and the mind. Just observe them all together. And for a moment or two, you're present. You're right in the moment. And it's nourishing, relaxing, and vital. Very good. Now very gently come out. You can move around now if you want, maybe even stretch your arms out or just lift yourself up. That's good. Just give yourself a little bit of a stretch. Open the eyes and come back. Very good. Now, you can do that 4 or 5 times a day. Little bursts, 1 minute or so, checking in, just being present, so that you're not lost. You're not hiding behind that mask, as Kevin says. You're there, and you're doing the best you can. And that's important, to stay connected. So if you can check in with yourself 4 or 5 times a day, then you'll find a difference will start to happen. That's good. Good, I think we're there, Julie. How was that?
Thanks, Mick. I mean, I'm always excited to be part of what you do, and you know, I've just as we just been together doing a mindful session with Alpha Beta team and what impact it had on their finance guys. They've been in a meeting for 2 days and they left us till the end, and then they had an immense transformation in the room, and they've been brilliant, haven't they? So, but it's you do magic, and you know, thanks, Mick. That was very powerful. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Again, we will have an opportunity to ask Mick any questions in a minute. I'll just share with you one slide. We just on 10 steps of embedding mindfulness in organization. It's just unfortunately Kevin's gone offline, so he couldn't share it with you, but I'm just gonna kind of reinstate that 10 steps. It's leading by example. So if you want to implement mindfulness within your leadership team, with your organization, start with your leadership team first. Run a taster session with them, but they need to buy into the practice in order to change the culture and to embed it into the culture. Also explain the science behind mindfulness, because our analytical brain needs to understand why we do all this, why we all of a sudden need to slow down, close our eyes. Our analytical brain doesn't really, it feels counterintuitive to the space of life we have at the moment. Also introduce mindfulness and target the most relevant benefits for your organization. You have seen how many different benefits mindfulness can offer. Target these benefits. If you want to use it for well-being tools, target well-being. If you want to use it for emotional intelligence, the other benefits will come over. But set an intention. What would you like to achieve that reflects your business and your culture, so you can get more buy-in. And as it comes to tailor your mindfulness program to the organization culture, like Google did. They did an amazing job. Also, decide on the format of your mindfulness program, whether it's going to be weekly, or you're going to do it off-site, or you're going to do it in a one-day workshop style. Find the right teaching style. There are so many teachers out there. Find the right teaching style, who is going to fit your organization, your culture. Because, as I said, there are so many teachers. Run a taster session and invite everyone to try and attend. And then measure the impact through self-assessment questionnaires. That's the best way to measure the impact. And create a culture where mindfulness really gets embedded. So, for example, having 5 minutes of mindfulness before starting a meeting, or do mindfulness breaks together, like Kevin started doing in his business. And then measure long-term impact on KPIs. Find how it correlates to your main KPIs, your performance engagement, your staff engagement survey, etc. So I'll send you all these details through. Now you can really ask questions. I can put if you can talk, I'll put you on off mute, so you can speak, or if you want, you can just type your questions. So it's absolutely fine. So please feel free to participate.
Julie, the one thing I would, out of the 10 steps you said there's a real couple that I would stress. The first one is so important. You have to lead by example. You have to be seen to be leading, else you won't get buy-in from your other team members. So it's really critical that you as a leader demonstrate that you're leading. The other thing is, picked it up, is the teaching style has to be right for the organization, and the teacher has to understand the culture of the organization. If there isn't a fit there with the culture, it just won't work. So, I mean, we've had a couple of sessions, and the session that we had with Mick was so effective. We almost got like, we want Mick back, we want repeat bookings, because he really got the culture of the business. Yes. And that is so important.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. If anyone has any questions.
Can I just say, Julie,
yes,
Kevin is spot on. I think it's obviously mindfulness and meditation is an 8,000-year-old science, and it's been adapted and reworked now for modern business. And I suppose I've been lucky, because I've like Kevin, I've run businesses, I've led teams, and so I've also been a yogi for about 30 years now. So I've learned through lots of experience and trial and error how to link this wonderful science with the needs of different people and different businesses. And I think Kevin's absolutely spot on. If you're going to get this working, you need to make sure that your mindfulness teacher, your leader, is going to really understand the culture of the business, but also be flexible and engaging, and also a bit playful too. You have a little bit of humor in there, because it's a daunting thing. It's a daunting thing for people to undertake this new way of looking, a new way of being. And if you come across as a little bit flaky or a little bit dogmatic, it's just going to put people off. You need to be open, and then businesses like Kevin and leaders that Kevin has, they embrace it.
I think
it can be fun.
That's
really, really important. It can be fun. One of the things we've started here on a regular basis now, and it was one of the team members that just went away and researched it. On a Wednesday morning, we have a 15-minute laughter yoga session.
Yes.
How can you feel grumpy and have any grudges within the business if you spend 15 minutes laughing at each other?
Exactly. Yes.
But you have to be brave, and you have to say, we're going to try this. And it might not work, but it's so powerful if it does. And it can be real fun.
Okay, so I don't think we have any questions, guys. I guess either we have been very detailed, and or everyone's still meditating. I hope as long as everyone is safe. So it has been a real pleasure to have you all in the call, and I think we have one question. Just 1 second. It's from Daria. Daria is from Google.
Unmuted.
So yes, Daria, hello.
Hi. Thank you so much, Kevin and Mick. It was really, really interesting. I have to say that I've been myself practicing meditation probably for a couple of years, but I never looked at it as sort of getting any benefits from it in the workplace. I was mostly concentrating for my personal life benefits. So it's really great to see that the benefits actually also can be at work, in work environment as well. So I really like that you said that the leadership of course has to be be on board in order for it to work. But sometimes it has to come from grassroots. What is your recommendation in terms of if I want to bring it to a workplace and maybe share it in my team first, like Kevin said, to see whether it's going to work or not? What sort of specific methodologies or techniques can I do within the small team environment? Thank you.
Very good. Do you want to take that, Kevin? Could you
I think it goes back to being brave as a leader and really open to any suggestions from your team. For a member of your team to come forward with that kind of suggestion, it's quite a brave decision for themselves. And I think if you really embrace that as a leader and say, let's try it, let's see how it goes. It might not work, but by God, if it works, you've really engaged that staff member, and you've demonstrated to everyone else within a business, you're receptive to ideas, you're going to listen, and again, that is so powerful and so effective for the business.
And I want to add as well that because that's what we do, we bring mindfulness to the workplace, and we get different group of people, different companies, and we would like, starting with a taster session can be quite powerful because there is no obligation, and people, they're really quite relaxed, they're interested, they're intrigued. And then, if you have a really good teacher and you really explain the benefits of mindfulness, how can the neuroscience behind it, how can it change your brain, and how can really impact your team dynamics, not just your individual dynamic, but your team dynamics. And you can reduce stress, and therefore you can become better learner and a better communicator. We worked with FIFA Partners, a company called Byram. They actually booked 2 mindfulness programs for us, both 8 weeks, and they bought another one in October. And they're just saying that it's such a opportunity to reduce stress for them and for their team, and they really embraced it. But before that, they never knew anything about mindfulness. So I think it's a really direct about trying and being, as Ken said, being brave and introduce this mindfulness session as a taster session.
I think picking up again from the point, Daria, you would instinctively think that this is something you use in your personal life, but without fail, your personal life impacts on your performance within the business. We've already seen from several members of our team that, yes, they're present, but how present are they in the business? That person that was having the argument with the kids for an hour and a half every morning wasn't present actually in the business for an hour. So it's transformational for the business if you can get an extra hour's productivity out of an individual.
Yeah, that's a terrific answer, that, Kevin, because you probably know, Daria, that there's been all sorts of interesting research too on people's ability to pay attention, to be present, and some of the research coming out is quite amazing. Sort of something like at least 48% of our time while we're in the office, our minds are elsewhere. They're doing other things. Our body is present, but our imagination, our creativity, our thinking is elsewhere. And so really, if you think about it, your average employer is employing people for only half the time, paying them a full week's salary. So, so in many ways, it's quite a mercenary way of looking at it. But in many ways, if you can get people to focus back and bring a full attention to what they're doing, that's when all the magic happens. People feel happier, they feel more creative. We talk a lot in my profession. I'm an architect by day and a yoga teacher by night, and we talk a lot in my profession about flow and creativity. And if you can somehow engage people to get into that flow and pay attention, to be fully immersed in what they're doing, then you would have cracked it, and I think you would have created an amazing, creative, compassionate, exciting, energetic working environment. I think also the methodology is just try it and see. You know from yourself, Daria, as having a meditation practice, we often say in our courses it's a bit like swimming. You can read about swimming from a book, but until you get in the water and swim, you'll never know. You'll never know what it's like. So it's just a matter of getting in front of people and holding their hands basically and saying, get in the water, it'll be fine, you will love it. And hopefully that comes across in the work that Julie does and that I do as well. So it's good.
Okay, I think we run over a little bit, and this last opportunity if anyone has a question. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much for attending. We will have this webinar we have it recorded as well, so we will be able to share it with you guys, or if you want to share it with any colleagues. So again, we ask you about bringing leadership team their traits. So yeah, if you have any interest in any tastes or any programs, please feel free to contact either myself or Mick or Kevin, and you can do it via my email because you all have it, and we will be able to give you some advice or help you in any way or shape or form. So thank you very much for having you, and yeah, I wish you a pleasant day, and hopefully we'll do more of these webinars in the future. Thank you. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Mick. Have a lovely day, guys. Thank you.
Well done.
Bye.
Bye.